Hello class 9. Today we are going to start with the next topic, the Mauryan administration, which is a part of lesson number 4, page number 133. Main objectives: central government, provincial government, revenue system, military administration, civic administration of Patliputra, Ashoka's Dharma or Dhama, and administration. Before the discussion of topic, we must know the following terms. Ambassador, important officials who work in a foreign country representing his or her country. Autocratic, a ruler who has absolute power. Civic administration, administration relating to the duties, activities of the people in relation to their towns and cities. Deep moat, a deep wide trench usually filled with the water around the palace. Resources, resources is something that can be used for a purpose. Sufferings, the state of undergoing pain, distress or hardship. Citizens, a person who is legally recognized. The Mauryan administration. It is a Chandragupta Maurya who laid the foundation of an elaborate system of administration. Most of our knowledge is derived from the accounts recorded by Greek ambassador Megasthenes, who remained at the Mauryan's court for 5 years in his book Indica. The other source of our information is the book written by Chanakya, that is Arthashastra. Chanakya was Chandragupta Maurya's advisor and mentor. The Mauryan had a well-organized administrative system. They had an elaborate machinery with many departments managed by a number of officials. The Mauryan Empire was centralized with a uniform system of administration throughout the empire. Now let's come to the reading part. The Mauryan administration, page number 135. Most of our knowledge about the Mauryan administration is derived from the accounts recorded by the Greek ambassador Megasthenes, who remained at the Mauryan court for 5 years in his book Indica. The other sources of our knowledge is the book written by Chandragupta's minister Chanakya or Kautilya called Arthashastra. It means it was Chandragupta Maurya under the guidance of Chanakya who laid the foundation of an elaborate system of administration. Chanakya wrote a book, Arthashastra, in which he describes the principle of politics and art of administration. Arthashastra and Indica, which is written by the Greek ambassador Megasthenes. These were the two great sources of information about the Mauryan administration. The civil administration has the two divisions, that is the central government and the provincial government. Now let's discuss one by one. The central government. Mauryan ruler was no doubt an autocrat, but they looked after the welfare of the people. Autocrat means the king who is having the absolute power, like dictator. The king was the highest authority of the state. He was, however, assisted by the council of ministers or the Mantri Parishad. The ministers were wise and loyal to king. Each minister was individually responsible for his department. It means the Mauryan government was centralized and was managed by the several officers of different ranks. The king was the supreme authority. He was the supreme judge. He take all the important decisions. Moreover, he was assisted by a Mantri Parishad. Each minister was responsible for his department. Beside the minister, there were the other officers who looked after the respective duties. They were called Adhyakshas, means superintendents, Amatyas, executive officers, Mahamatras, governors, Pradeshikas, revenue officers, Rajukas, judicial officers, and Yuktas, treasury officers. Beside the Mantri Parishad, there were the other ministers who were watching the different departments like Adhyakshas, like superintendents, Amatyas, executive officers, Mahamatras, governors, Pradeshikas, revenue officers, Rajukas, judicial officers, Yuktas, treasury officers. They were also responsible for their own departments. Provincial government. The whole empire was divided into the four provinces of Magध, Takshila, Ujjain and Swarnagiri. The administration of the district was looked after by the Sthanaks and the villages by the village headmen called the Gramikas or Graminis. The Mauryan Empire was basically divided into the four main provinces. These are Magध, Takshila, Ujjain and Swarnagiri. Moreover, the administration of district was looked after by the Sthanaks and the villages administration was looked after by the headmen called Gramikas or Gramini. It means the smallest unit of administration was village. Revenue system. Land revenue was the chief source of income. It varied from 1/6 to 1/4 of the total produce. Taxes were also collected from mines, forest, cattle, toll tax and professional taxes. The money was usually spent on public works like roads, hospitals, irrigation, etc. and to pay the salaries of the officers and to maintain the large army. It means the land revenue was the chief source of income in the Mauryan Empire. It was the 1/6 or 1/4 of the produce that was taken in the form of taxes. Beyond that, the taxes were also collected from mines, forest, cattle, toll tax and the professional tax. Money which is collected from the taxes usually spent on public works like building roads, hospitals, irrigation, etc. Moreover, this money is also spent for paying the salaries of the officers and to maintain the large army. Military administration. Chandragupta kept a huge army of 6 lakh infantry, 30,000 cavalry, 9,000 elephant and 8,000 chariots. It was necessary to maintain such a large army to look after so big an empire. Besides, there was an efficient network of spy system spread all over the empire and its neighboring states. These spies kept the emperor informed about all the important matters. It means Chandragupta Maurya maintained a huge army consisting of infantry, cavalry, elephants and chariots. According to Megasthenes, the Mauryan army consists of 6 lakh infantry, 30,000 cavalry, 9,000 war elephants. According to another source, the Mauryan maintained the 8,000 chariots. The chief weapon used were bows, arrows, shield, swords, etc. Moreover, Chandragupta Maurya had a wide network of spies in the empire. There were spies against the spies, and on important matters more than the one agent was asked to collect information. The king was always kept informed of the working of the bureaucracy. Bureaucracy means the high officials. Civic administration of Patliputra. Megasthenes tells us about the city of Patliputra. It was the capital of Mauryas. It was a beautiful city surrounded by a deep moat and high walls. Just have a look on the Mauryan Empire. This map is showing the extent of Mauryan Empire. All the houses including the king's palace were made of wood. The king's palace was magnificent and lived in luxury. The administration of city was looked after the committees of 30 members. This committee was further divided into 6 boards. The first board was concerned with the industries and art. The second board looked after the needs of foreigners. The third board recorded the birth and deaths. The fourth board regulates the trade and commerce and checked weight and measures. The fifth board ensured the quality of the manufactured articles. The sixth board collected tax on the sold goods at the rate of 10% of their price. The committee also took steps to ensure health and the sanitation and built the hospitals, roads, parks, schools and temples. It means Megasthenes, who was the Greek ambassador, he described the capital city as a large and beautiful shape like a parallelogram and surrounded by the wooden wall and deep moat. The wall had a hole for discharge of the arrows or the ward of enemies. The moat, 900 feet wide and 30 feet deep, ran along the outer boundaries of the wall. Moreover, the administration of Patliputra was looked after by the committee of 30 members. This committee was further divided into the six boards. The first board looked after the industries and art. Second board looked after the welfare of foreigners. Third board recorded the birth and death. Fourth board regulates the trade and commerce. Fifth board checked the quality of manufactured products. And sixth board collected the taxes on the goods sold. 30-member committee also watches the other functions related with the health and sanitation. Moreover, they build the hospitals, roads, parks, schools and temples for the welfare of the people. Now we will discuss Ashoka. Ashoka was son of Bindusara and grandson of Chandragupta Maurya. Ashoka is regarded as one of the most popular ruler of the ancient India. Ashoka, born in 302 BCE, during his father's reign, he served as a governor of the Takshila and Ujjain. He ascended the throne in 273 BCE after the death of his father Bindusara. Now let's come to the reading part. Let's come to the reading part of Ashoka. Ashoka is regarded as one of the most popular ruler of ancient India. He belonged to Mauryan dynasty. Dynasty means series of rulers from the same family. He was born in about 302 BC. During his father's reign, Bindusara's reign, he served as a governor of Takshila and Ujjain and had thus got enough experience of administration. He succeeded to the throne after his father's death in 273 BCE. It means Ashoka succeeded the throne after his father's death, Bindusara. On ascending the throne, Ashoka took the title of Dev Nam Priya, means beloved of gods, and Priyadarshi means beautiful one. After ascending the throne, Ashoka fought the famous Kalinga War, which was the turning point of his life. After this war, Ashoka gave up the ambition of Digvijay or victory of all direction and pursued the policy of Dharma Vijay, and he followed the Buddhism. Now we will discuss Ashoka's Dharma or Dhamma. Ashoka was grandson of Chandragupta Maurya and son of Bindusara. After the Kalinga War, Ashoka became the people's king. He embraced Buddhism but did not impose it on the subject. Subject means people. He preached only good things of the human conduct. The Dhamma, as described in Ashoka's edict, is not a religion or a religious system, but a moral law or an ethical order. Main principles of Ashoka's Dhamma: respect the elders, proper treatment of youngsters, ahimsa, tolerance, truthfulness, charity, and pure life. Ashoka's administration was similar in character to that of his father and grandfather. Father was Bindusara and grandfather was Chandragupta Maurya. But in spirit, there was changes for the welfare of his people. He began to treat his subjects as his children. Ashoka appointed a new class of officers known as Dhamma Mahamatras. He adopted the policy of religious tolerance. Now let's come to the reading part. Ashoka's Dharma or Dhamma. Though Ashoka himself followed the Buddhism, he preached only good things of human conduct. His Dhamma, which is Prakrit form of the Sanskrit word Dharma, was the dogmatic but the sect of moral principles. It means after the Kalinga War, Ashoka became the people's king. He embraced Buddhism but did not impose it on his subjects. He wanted his subject to follow such a dharma that may be based on the unifying principle of all major religions of the world. Ashoka's Dhamma is not a religion or not religious system as we have discussed, but it is a moral law or a common code of conduct or an ethical order, which is the common meeting ground for all the religions. Main principles of Ashoka's Dhamma: respect of elders. In one of the edict, Ashoka says obedience must be tendered to the father and the mother. In the same way, the student must show the respect to the teacher. Having the respect is a great moral value. One must have the respect for the parents as well as the teachers. Proper treatment of youngster. Elder, superiors and officials should be polite and kind to their youngsters, inferiors and subordinates. One must have the polite behavior with their youngsters, their inferiors, subordinates, those who are working with them. Ahimsa. Ashoka not only the forbade the slaughter of animals, but himself gave up the hunting and flesh eating. Means Ashoka taught us the lessons of non-violence. Tolerance. In one of the edict, Ashoka says that there should not be the honor of one's own sect or the condemnation of another sect. Other sects should also be honored. Means he taught people to respect all religions. Truthfulness. A man must speak the truth at all times. It is better than the various religious ceremonies. Means one should always speak the truth. Charity. One should give the education to the illiterate, money to the poor, and knowledge of the Dhamma to everyone. Means one must make a charity by giving the education to illiterates, money to poor. Pure life. Ashoka favored a pure and simple life. Anger, cruelty, pride, and jealousy are the great sins. Thus, Ashoka's Dhamma consists of principles which were common to all religion. Ashoka and Buddhism. Ashoka occupies a high place in the history of Buddhism. In the beginning, he led a comfortable and luxurious life and indulged in all the sort of merrymaking. But the sufferings and bloodshedding of Kalinga War of 261 BC brought about a great change in his life and he became an ardent follower of Buddhism. He now devoted all his time, energy and the vast resources for the spread of Buddhism in and outside India. It means when Ashoka was a king, he led a very comfortable and luxurious life. But the war of Kalinga was a turning point in his life. When he saw the bloodsheds of the Kalinga war, that brought about the great change in his life and he became the follower of Buddhism. He gave the message of Four Noble Truths and Eightfold Path of Buddhism. He felt very comfortable by adopting the Buddhism. Moreover, he spread the Buddhism and the message of Buddhism not only in India but outside India. Ashoka's administration and the change in its character. Ashoka's administration was similar in character to his father and grandfather, but in spirit there was a change and there was a now great stress on people's welfare. He built various roads and planted trees on their both sides. He had various rest houses built for the travelers. He had various wells dug for welfare of people. He opened a large number of hospitals both for men and animal. He began to treat his subject as his children. At all times he was ever ready for the service of the people. It means he followed the same steps for the administration of his father and his grandfather. But they were in spirit, but he brought a little change. He worked maximum for his public welfare. Like he built many roads and planted the trees on the both sides of the road. He had various rest houses for the travelers. Moreover, he had wells dug for the welfare of people, opened the hospitals for men as well as for the animals. Moreover, he was treating his subjects, means his people, like his children. All the times he was ever ready for the help of his people. Now Ashoka appointed the new class of officers known as the Dharma Mahamatras. Their main duty was to raise the morale of the people and also supervise the action of the state officials. He had instructed his officials to make the life of the citizens happy and prosperous. Ashoka himself undertook the tours to see that his orders are fully obeyed. Ashoka adopted the policy of religious tolerance. His was an ideal system of administration which brought peace and made the people happy and prosperous. Means Ashoka did lot for his subjects. He appointed the new class of officers known as the Dharma Mahamatras. The main objective was to raise the morale of people and also supervise the action of the state officials. Always instructed his officials to make the all possible things which are required to his citizens. Always wanted to see his subjects very happy and wanted to bring peace and make the people happy and prosperous. With this, our lesson is over and you will have to reread this part, learn the basic terms, related question answers and kindly follow the SNAP homework. Thank you.